Hello everyone, John Frausto with Topspin Tennis. Wanted to cover a video on Casper Ruud. He's a Norwegian. He's doing very well at the moment. He's number 7 in the world. He's had a lot of success in these latest Masters 1000 series events, but really interesting article on ATPtour.com that I was reading, and I wanted to share it with you so you fully understand what makes these elite players so elite. Right? What are they doing? What are their secrets? Casper's had a chance to play against Djokovic, Nadal, some of the best players. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because there's one player that you probably would never guess gives him the most fits. But he's also practiced with Nadal, so he understands the mentality that goes in to a practice session. And I think this is one reason why the players that have won so much, I think there's a secret to what these top players do in practice that carries over into a match. So talking about Rafael Nadal, Casper states, I've practiced with him quite a bit. I think he never gives you room to breathe when you play against him on clay. All the shots he produces are very heavy to face because he puts a lot of topspin and they bounce very high. The name of the channel is Topspin Tennis. There's a reason why I named it that. I'm a fan of topspin, right? We get this amazing clearance over the net. You can get some depth with that as well. And then when that ball bounces, it's a heavy ball. Heavy just basically means it's a combination of spin and power. And if you can get depth on it, even better. Anytime you need to play a shot above shoulder height from the baseline or when you play ground strokes, Casper says, it's tough. It's tough to get good enough depth back. And that's where Nadal comes in. Anything short, he's going to move in and he's going to punish you when he plays these heavy shots. So he gets a chance many times to move forward and go for an aggressive shot. So there it is against Nadal. Why is it so uncomfortable to play against Nadal? Federer, Djokovic, all of them have seen it. He hits this high, heavy ball. He'll also put you in a cage. That's one tactic that I'm a fan of. And what I mean by that is against Federer, the majority of the shots are going to the backhand side. He'll put you in a cage, he'll put you in a corner, the balls are high and heavy, they get above the shoulders, and as we know, anytime we start getting balls above the shoulder, it can be hard to impart power. He plays every point very strictly and with order, like it's his last point. That's the mentality in practice that I was talking about, where you've got to have this mentality where you are focused on each and every point, each and every ball, and your goal is to not miss it because it could be your last. That's how Nadal practices. You don't get too many free points from him in a match or when you play points in practice. With the clay, sometimes it's more physically demanding because you play longer rallies and longer matches, and he's there for it. That's the other thing on clay, right? The rallies, for the most part, are going to be longer, so it can be a game of attrition. Who's in better shape? And as we know, Nadal, he's in phenomenal shape. So it's a process. Nadal's got the heavy ball. He knows how to find your weakness. He's not afraid to play longer points, and anything short, he's going to step up and punish. Now, in regards to Novak Djokovic, this is what Ruud says. He plays a little bit differently from Rafa. He plays a little bit further into the court, and the thing with Novak is that his backhand is so pure. That's from a technical standpoint, and I would agree it's probably one of the top 3 two-hand backhands in the history of tennis. It's clean, it's simple. I'll put a link to a video analysis that I've done on Novak Djokovic. I'll also put a link to this article below as well. It'll be an interesting read for you. So yeah, the backhand is so pure, so good, that even though many clay court players like Rafa like to punish the backhand of their opponent because it's tough with the high bounce, with the heaviness, Novak stands against it better than anybody else because he has such good control with his backhand. I'd agree with that. You know, usually as a tennis player in the warm-up, you want to try to find that weakness right away. And Novak really doesn't have any weaknesses, so he can produce winners and good defensive shots from both sides all the time. He has the package where you can't really rest in any corner of the court when you play against him, because either he plays with his backhand and he will push you with it, and also with his forehand he can produce great angles and different shots. That's probably the other thing that I think as a player you need to understand, and I've talked about it in videos about the golden square. Looking to open up the court a little more. I'm going to be doing some videos in the future about shaping the ball. I know we like to pound deep to the corners, but some of the best players, what they do really well is they can shape the ball, maybe take less of it, lift up and across and hit these angles. Novak is able to do that. Obviously, he's one of the best movers on the tour. He can get to certain balls and play defense like no other player. I'd agree with that. So I think that what makes him as tough as he is, both on hard court and clay, but on clay he's able to step into the court and take these heavy shots that you try to play at him a little bit more on the rise and in play with good depth and back and get the balls back to you. So yes, high heavy, he's able to take that ball, move into the court because of his speed and his clean strokes, and redirect some of those shots and not allow you to get the ball above his shoulders. He also talks about Djokovic and Thiem in this article. I'm not going to go into that. Carlos Alcaraz, the next gen player, up and coming. Fascinating what he says about him. He can play on all surfaces because he plays aggressive, but he also plays with a decent amount of topspin. There we go, coming back with topspin again, right? That is your friend. Make sure you learn how to hit topspin. The forehand even more than the backhand. What impressed me last year when he played on clay was how aggressive he was able to stay and how far into the court he was able to hit most of his shots. So conventional clay court player, a lot of them are standing considerably back behind the baseline so that with that high heavy ball and net clearance they're able to bring it back into the court. He's saying that Carlos is able to hug that baseline a little bit more and take the ball on the rise and take time and space away from the opponent. At the same time, like others I've mentioned, he moves incredibly well. I would agree with that. Phenomenal mover, and then his heart, he's got a heart of steel, man. This guy likes to fight. You gotta love to compete, and you can see that in Alcaraz. He also has a good kick serve, which opens the court as well. Zverev, he talks about Zverev as well. Big, tall player. He's had a lot of success on clay courts as well. He's won Madrid 2 times. You don't find any holes on the backhand side, and of course he also serves well. You don't find any holes on the backhand side, and of course he also serves well. So he gets some free points with his serve, which is nice on the surface because you usually don't get you need to play more rallies if you don't have a great serve. He serves well, he returns well, and he plays with good depth pretty much all the time. Not as much topspin, gets the ball through the court a little more, which most of the times give you a little bit more depth on the shot. He returns well, and he plays with good depth pretty much all the time, so it's tough to attack him. That's where Sasha is dangerous on the surface. Alright, so thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Who do you think is the player that gives him the most trouble? I think you're going to be surprised. I have a pretty bad record against Albert Ramos Vinolas. Who would think, right? This guy would be one of his nemesis, but he is. Maybe he's not a guy who is talked about too much, Ruud said. I also find Diego Schwartzman a tough player on clay. Schwartzman, as we know, the Argentine, the guy can absolutely fly around the court. He's a pit bull on the court. He is going to make shots, and at times when he needs to, he can open up the court with some penetrating shots. But these guys are going to dig a lot of shots out, and they're going to make it a miserable day for you on the tennis court. Schwartzman, he said, moves very well. He puts a lot of balls back. His serve is quite tricky in a way, and I think he spends a lot of hours on clay every year, and he likes to play on the surface. He's beaten Rafa before on the clay. Not too many players around the world have done that, but there are also other players that are very good on the surface. So there you have it. I think if we're going to use this as far as to improve our game, there's a few things that we can learn from some of the best players and who Ruud has competed against. I think one, we got to learn how to hit with some topspin, right? So what can we take away from this article? One, it seems like there's a few reoccurring themes here. One, learn to hit with topspin. You got to learn how to hit with topspin. Two, in practice, you got to be laser focused. You don't have time to be goofing around or to not look to improve. So you've got to stay focused, stay the course, treat every ball as it's your last shot. Three, you got to be in good shape. I feel like if you don't have it physically, you're going to break down mentally. So Rafa, some of these top players, they're in phenomenal shape. It is an absolute battle out there, and if you are not prepared to play a 3-setter, 2 to 3 hours, you're in trouble. You will break down. So those are the 3 things that I took away from this article. Hopefully it helps. Do me a favor, if you like the video, hit subscribe, hit the like button, share it with your friends, coaches, and players. Thanks so much. Have a great day.